right, welcome back to episode 2 of the Marketplace Mavericks. This week, it's week number 1. It is the good, the bad, the ugly, mostly the ugly of 3 over-the-hill guys talking about their journey on starting as Amazon sellers. So it's the week you have sat and watched YouTube videos for like 2 months and you just can't do it anymore. You've talked to a couple friends. You might have talked to a friend of a friend that did Amazon. You saw countless 25-year-olds driving Teslas from the money that they make on Amazon, and you are ready. You have your seller app and you have your keeper. I think Blake and Pete can both attest to like those are pretty much like the essentials you have to have, other than, and you also have your Amazon seller account. So those 3 things, that's what you need to start. And SellerAmp is the first one. SellerAmp is going to let you know exactly what your profit is. It has all of Amazon's fees built into the back end, and it also has even shipping fees that will be really close. And for the most part, the back end of SellerAmp, which you can change, is almost set up for you. The only things I changed, I made sure my ROI was 30%, a minimum profit of $3. Because for the most part, you're going to be selling stuff that's retailing $20 and over to make yourself decent money. And the only other thing that you need to really pay attention to in SellerAmp is your sales tax. I'm in Massachusetts. I have none. So I don't need to worry about putting sales tax in for the things that you're probably going to be sourcing to begin with close. If you do have sales tax, you need to put it in. And then the next thing you need to do is go become a sole proprietor or open your own LLC to make sure that you can get a tax exempt number. Because whether it's 6%, 7%, 8%, whatever it is in your state, that's a lot when you're dealing with Amazon. Not that you couldn't find things profitable with your sales tax, but probably not. So you're going to want to put that in the back end. And with those things logged in, you're going to have everything in front of you so you can plug in what you want. You can also, and what this podcast is going to be mostly about is the ugly, and the ugly is Ungating. It is a nightmare. Pete and Blake will both attest to that. We all have,
John.
We could each of us do a solo podcast on just the nightmares of our first month of what we were ungated in. Blake, he got stuck being ungated in Jockey. Got ungated right away with Jockey. It is just, there's no rhyme or reason to it, and it sucks. I think we probably need to talk about the auto ungate, which you can do through SellerAmp. When you install the Chrome extension, anytime you put your mouse over an ASIN, you can right click it and it's going to say right there, Google search through SAS. And that's going to bring you right to the page where you can hit manual ungate and ungate. There's lots of ungated websites and lists that you can probably find online. And you just want to get yourself auto ungated in major brands, probably with clothing. And it seems to me, Amazon likes to kind of give you 20% in the beginning, auto ungate, and 80% gated. And your job is to take that little 20% and hammer it and get sales. Because for the most part, sales fixes everything.
John,
and I think
I was going to say, let me just jump in here real quick. I think it might be really important to just take a step back and explain what is ungating. How does it work? Why do we have to even do it? Why is it a requirement to be able to sell something on Amazon? Why do you have to do something called ungating?
Well, you're kind of the technical guy of the group. I think you're the best one to tell us.
Sure. So let me just sort of make it really easy for you. In order to sell anything on Amazon, Amazon has to give you the approval to sell that brand. So they are the gatekeepers of your ability to sell anything. So if you want to go out and buy a Nike product, an Adidas product, a St. Ives product, or whatever brand, there's millions of them out there. If you want to sell any of those, you have to do something called go through the ungating process, where Amazon reviews your your history, and either ungates you right away, allows you to sell that brand right away. Which, by the way, John was just talking about the seller's amp application. One of the most important features or notifications on that app is something that says yes and no for ungating. And if you scan an item and it populates a yes, a green yes, that's what you're looking for. That means you can buy as many of those as you want to, as long as they're profitable. You can buy as many of those as you want to and go ahead and send them to Amazon or send them from home and make a profit. So that's ungating in a nutshell. There are some caveats to ungating. Sometimes you can just apply for being ungated in that brand and it like happens instantly. They send back an approval and you're good to go. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. As a matter of fact, that's the nightmare that John was talking about, because you could provide Amazon with every ounce of information they request, an invoice, the price that you paid on that invoice, pictures of the product that you received. These are all requirements by Amazon. You can put all that in a nice little PDF, send it to Amazon, and they'll still reject you. So like John was saying earlier, there's sometimes no rhyme or reason for why it is that you get ungated or not, but you have to stick through the process and you have to try to just persist, because there will be a day. I don't know when. I don't know how long that would take for that particular brand.
Might be weeks.
It could be months.
It could be
It
months.
could be
I did
longer.
have months. It could be a while. Sales cure it for the most part. You
Yeah,
might
sales
get
do-
stuck with one or two, but sales cure it. And I'm in month, 3 right now. And the ungating, the issues with ungating is pretty much gone.
Yeah, and I want to interject something here about the ungating process, because one of the things that I was scanning things and I was never logged in. Although I logged in on the Seller app, there's an ungate, or I think it says manual ungate on there. That's where you can tap to get ungated. But if you're not logged in, you have no option to do that. So I was scanning things, but I was not logged in to do an ungate. So that was a piece that I had missing, that I was just completely unaware of. Probably for the first, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it was. But once I was able to determine that, oh, I wasn't signed in here, because the app worked, it just didn't give me my true because I was not signed in. So, and John had mentioned, I think you can right click on what he was talking about to do the ungate. You can do it through the app or through your Chrome extension on your laptop, whatever you're using. So it does work both ways, but you do need to make sure that you're signed in. If you're not signed in, I think it gives you, it says like retry, or maybe it even says sign in. So that is an imperative part to becoming, or to attempting to get ungated.
Yeah, especially if you're doing retail arbitrage.
That's true.
Where you're actually scanning things in the store. If you're on your desktop, it's probably going to be a little bit more obvious.
That's true.
That is right. But yeah, if you're just on your phone and you're in a store, that's where you're going to miss that sort of stuff, when you're not all signed in everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a constant problem. To keep it simple for you guys, start with major brands. You just have to. You got to start with your Walmart brands, your Cuddle Duds, your Fruit of a Loom, Jockey, Nautica, Stafford, Goodfellow, which is Target, all that sort of stuff. You want to start with large brands where Amazon is going to accept. They like receipts from Target, Walmart.
Target is
That is a huge one. You want it from there. You
You
really
can't do
don't
your
want to.
retail receipts. Remember, you can't do the retail. You have to
No.
get the invoice.
You need to get the invoice. This is mostly for online arbitrage.
Yes.
That's where you're going to be starting. And you want to make those as neat as possible. And that was one of my biggest problems, because I didn't even know how to use Adobe. So that was my own personal problem, but we learned. And you want to save all of them in one PDF folder. And make it as neat as possible, because you're trying to get a human being to look at it. And that can be frustrating. But we're talking about week 1. Week 1 is like, it's the ugly. You're going to question whether you're doing it right or not. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. Amazon makes it hard for a reason. They kind of want you to drop out in the first week.
Yeah, I personally believe this one key thing of gating and ungating is probably one of the key factors that eliminate People who will just say, I'm done
Yes.
with this. I'm
Yes.
absolutely done with this. Because, I mean, Pete and myself both in our ungating processes and the different brands, I mean, Pete had, I don't know how many, over 100, I believe, submissions on
Oh,
something.
yeah.
I've had 70 and 80 on some of my stuff. So that will begin to weed you out if you're not going to persevere through that. And I would also say, as we're talking through this, like, don't get hung up on those particular things. Move on to something else and sell the things that you know that you can sell.
And don't listen to the notes they send back. There's like 2 or 3 form letters that you always get back. And sometimes it'll say, like, you need to submit 100 units, where once in a while you do need to submit 100 units. But for the most part, they say that for everything, and you really just need 10.
10 of the same.
10 of the same. And because 10 is usually the amount of units, the minimum amount of units you want to be buying anyways. So chances are you are already submitting 10. But that is number one, has to be the number one thing why people just drop out. Because they grind there for 8 hours. They're trying to do it. They order things. So you got things at your house that you can't send to Amazon because you're not approved, and it's driving you crazy, and you just want to take your computer and you want to throw it out the window. And you got to just because there will be brands that auto ungate you. Take those brands and get stuff.
Take those small wins.
Take those small wins and get them into Amazon and get them selling. Because I know there was 2 brands. There was Carter and Jockey. I think I had applied 30, 40 times for like 3 weeks. And like, as soon as I and not a lot, like $200-$300 in sales. $100 day, sold a couple things here. All of a sudden, I submitted the same exact stuff I was submitting 2 weeks before, and all of a sudden, it just auto-ungated me. So those sales triggered a little something, and you get auto-ungated. And then it will just start.
John, what does the auto-ungate mean?
The auto-ungate really is just Amazon's AI, for whatever reason, just deems that you, because of your account, can sell this item. How it works behind the scenes, I have absolutely no clue.
When you click
publish, it's not going to say, hey, waiting on your review or something like that. It's going to just all of a sudden approve you.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Congratulations, you're approved. And let me tell you guys, after 2 or 3 weeks of battling these brands and taking pictures of your product when it gets there and taking pictures of like the shipping receipt and trying to put everything together in your PDFs nice and neatly and make them look like invoices, when you get that like first approval and you get to like send out the 20 things that you bought, it is a win. It's like it's the first win, maybe even more than like getting a sale. Because and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks in, you're getting a little, and then you get to source that brand. So yeah, but the first week, that's probably not going to happen. You're going to get auto-ungated in a couple brands. I think I got auto-ungated right away in Cuddle Duds, Fruit of the Loom, and I think one more somewhere. And I just work those brands. Fruit of the Loom is big with Walmart. Walmart's going to be one of your best friends, and you just hammer it and get as many as you can.
How can you find out even just your ungating brands? You're talking about brands. How do you find out like what you do? Because you said Walmart. Well, what do I pick up at Walmart?
And that's where ChatGPT comes in. That's where your ChatGPT comes in. You just start typing in Walmart's exclusive brands. It's going to spit out brands. You do it with Target. You do it with you can do it with Home Depot once you start doing it a little bit more. You can do it with any brand that you want. Or any big box store that you want. And that's what you want to start sourcing. And you can start going through, you see a list of all the Walmart brands. Those are the things you want to start trying to get ungated for. Start working on your auto ungates with those and see if you can build that up. There's probably a lot of auto ungate lists online, and you got to start simple. You got to start simple. It's going to be clothes. I mean, sure, you could probably find some Home Depot stuff, find stuff like that. The clothes are going to be the easiest. And you're just trying to get your foot in the door. You're trying to make a little name for yourself and let Amazon know that you're for real. That's really what it is.
I think you made a good analogy last week, John, when you said all you're trying to do is just carve out a little piece of Amazon for your store. And that is so true. You're not trying to become a millionaire overnight. This is a long long-term process. And so ungating is sort of like the boot camp of Amazon for Amazon resellers. So just kind of
Good
keep
words.
that in mind. If you can persist through that, let's give it 3 months. That's where we are now. In 3 months, you'll have so many more ungates behind you that it being rejected won't even phase you. It doesn't phase any three of us at this point anymore, just because we've gone through the process so many times. As a matter of fact, you guys don't know this, but I've been working on trying to get ungated in Crayola. I have literally Crayola products sitting in my house after I've taken pictures of them 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't been ungated in that brand. And I continue to submit and just at least once a day.
Yeah.
I think submitting multiple times a day never really helped me with other brands. So just that might be something you write down and just kind of take note of. Just submit once a day an application to be ungated in a brand, and just do that repeatedly over and over and over. And like I said,
And eventually, I got that with Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
My other room, I got 20 things of Calvin Klein. January 21st was when I ordered it. It was my very first order. And it's still sitting there. And I'm almost past the point now of I don't even think I can return them. And in my head, I'm like, I know that I'm stuck in like auto ungate, just AI hell, you know?
Yeah, really.
And
It's
but
tough.
one day, and I don't care. It might be to the point where one day when I'm not even selling clothes anymore, and I might be this big 7-figure wholesale like entrepreneur, and I'm going to get Calvin Klein ungated, and I don't care if I'm selling 3,000 things a month on Amazon. I am going to box up those 20 things, and they're going to be the most satisfying
Sales.
20 sales that I've had so far.
I'm the same
Someday.
way with a couple of them. I mean, Pete mentioned Crayola. Crayola was an auto ungate for me. Pete had been, I know, and here we go. Pete, it's a frustrating thing because Pete's been trying it. Pete was trying for St. Ives forever, and I went and scanned because I moved to some RA stuff, and I started scanning RA. I mean, started scanning some St. Ives, and would you know, it just ungated for me. And so,
Same with me.
yeah, it's one of those things. We talked about it from the very beginning. There is no rhyme or reason as to why you're ungated or why you're not. But what we just tell you and challenge you to do is do what you can do, work with what you can work with, sell what you can sell, and the rest just begins to unfold. Now, unfortunately, it may not be exactly the way you want it to be, but take each one of those wins as a win and just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, and like we're still new at it. We're 3 months in, and we're past it. We're over it. I mean, yeah, once in a while I'll get one that denies me here and there, but for the most part, when I hit, apply, it auto ungates me. Instead of 20% of the time in the beginning, now it's flipped. Now it's like 80% of the time I'm getting auto ungated. Sometimes you guys will see, I guess the one other thing we should go over is hard gated, which is quick and easy. When you click on something, Nike, for example, lots of people sell Nike, lots of people sell Puma. There's a whole bunch of brands. Well, guess what? We can't. Neither can you. Because they're hard gated. But as soon as you hit that, it's going to tell you this brand, we're not accepting applications anymore. Then you just know, like, never look at that brand again. One day it may open up, but for the foreseeable future, like, it's not an option for you. So that's just part of the game.
Something I learned, John, actually, is that you can be something called regated, where you become auto ungated, let's say. For me, it happened with Callaway. I became auto ungated while I was out scanning things in the store. And we went out and bought like 10 items, sent them to Amazon. And just literally days after they got to Amazon, I received notifications saying that I've been gated now on Callaway. So I have products sitting in Amazon's warehouse that I can't sell because I'm now gated. And so that was quite confusing to me. So I kept reaching out to customer service, and I finally found somebody there that spoke decent English, and they told me it's not really Amazon that regated me. It's the actual brand Callaway that said we no longer want to sell. We no longer want resellers selling our products, and so just regate those resellers, which I happen to become one. And so we had Amazon send us back our Callaway shirts, and we're having to send those back to Sam's. But So there is a regating process that hopefully you guys don't ever have to experience, but nonetheless, when it does happen, you'll know
Yeah.
how to resolve it.
Hopefully this will give you a little bit of heads up before you get there. You'll know exactly what to do, or at least you have the heads up that it could potentially happen. It happened to me on GE, just some little plug-in lights, and I
Yeah.
got ungated in that and
Yeah.
sent them in. And the next thing I got was a request to do a removal order, and so I had to do my removal, and they shipped them back to me. And luckily, I was able to take them back to the store, but it's again, it's one of those hiccups
Yeah.
that you can't foresee. It just happens, and there's literally nothing you can do about it.
For me, never happened.
Yeah.
It's never happened for me. So like, you never know. You never know. And there's probably stuff that happens that hasn't happened to all three of us and we just don't know anything about. But for the most part, like, yes, the ungating is the number one headache of Amazon, but
Yeah.
it is very short, even though at the time it doesn't feel like it's short. It feels like it takes forever because you just want to get going. You're finding profitable things and you can't buy them. And that's annoying.
That is annoying.
But you just got to remember, hopefully some things that we're telling you, you're going to kind of be able to take um, and kind of just have it in the back of your head. So when the stuff happens, just go, oh yeah, okay. No, you gotta get good with Adobe. Move your pages around, annotate, circle. You hear stories all over the place, like, oh, mine worked because I circled this or circled that. Did it work because you circled something? I don't know. But because the file that you sent over was a little different, so somebody else looked at it and not just something AI generated? Very possible. And then that could have gotten you in. I have yet to hear somebody anywhere on YouTube or anywhere else actually know the real answer to it.
There's an algorithm that's unpredictable.
Yes, and Mr. Bezos is not sharing it with us. I think that is safe to say. Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I noticed, John, though, that the longer we stayed in the game, the longer we made it through
Oh yeah.
the quicker, like you were mentioning earlier, actually, John, the more you apply to be ungated, instantly you get ungated.
Yeah.
So
I saw this month, beginning of this month, third month, all of a sudden it opened up.
just stay in the game.
Yeah,
do
you just
that.
got to keep doing it. And we're still nobodies. We're still nobodies in the game of Amazon. So
I felt like I hit the lottery one night, guys. Like, it was unprecedented for me. I was literally in a hotel and I had like an hour. The kids had went to bed. Me and my wife were sitting in bed, and I went through all of my denials that I had. Now, I had a whole bunch of them because I was doing a bunch of RA scanning in some stores, and so I had just a ton of these denials. And we had already been in Amazon probably a month and a half, maybe. And so we're sitting in bed and just literally taking, I think, 8 or 10 pages each one of us did of all these attempts that we had that were denied. And I think that night we got over 400 ungates. But again, we had already been selling. Now, I wasn't selling in those brands, but I went ahead and went through that whole process. When I started seeing that success, man, I'm like, let's keep this thing up. Again, I felt like I was winning the lottery. I wasn't selling anything, wasn't making any money. But I did begin to get all ungated in all these brands that if
even though you might never sell them.
I may never sell them again. I may never even come across the product again. But I went through that process because I wanted to create, in essence, this portfolio of all my brands that I can sell. And again, whether that's helped me ungate more of the 80% that we're talking about,
maybe,
or I don't know what there's rhyme or reason to this. There's none. So I don't know what it was, but it was a huge win for me. And as you're getting started in your Amazon journey, you're noticing the ungating, the frustration that we all have. And so you'll take, again, that's why I can't tell you enough, like, celebrate that win that you get when you get ungated in a particular product and just run with that. Find brands that you can sell and run with it.
Yeah, because I think we all have like ideas. Like, everybody has got a thing like, "Ooh, I did this to this, to this PDF and it worked. I went and ungated all these brands, even though I'm going to sell." And like, I think that's what got me ungated. What gets you ungated? What we know is sales.
One word.
That doesn't have to be $10,000 in sales. It's showing activity, like Carter's jockey, some ones that were being, giving me a hard time. All of a sudden I got to like $500 in sales in February, towards the end of February. And like, it was just like, boom, boom, ungated and things. I was like, oh, that's what really does it. I don't think it can hurt. to do it the other ways. And some things we just do because it makes us feel better. And like, that's okay. Just getting auto ungated in those brands and seeing it accept things, even though you're not selling it, just feels good at some
That's
point.
what I said. It felt like a lottery to me, man. I literally
Yeah,
felt
it
like I
just
was
feels
winning.
it feels like a lottery. So yeah, but that's what we want to talk to you guys about tonight was the ungating part.
What does I want to ask a question real fast because I know, John, you encountered some of this frustration, and it was submitting that PDF. Like, how did you go about submitting your PDF? What did because you have to put it together, right?
Yeah.
And so I would highly recommend. This is one thing that I recently found out is Chat GPT will actually create your PDF for you. So you can, if you know how to do it, fine. But if you don't, upload those files directly to ChatGPT, ask them to put them in a PDF. You download that sucker and you name it as you're supposed to name it when you submit it. And that's a big win for you. You don't have to go through the hassle and headache as what John did, not knowing how to do it. Again, ChatGPT, guys, is going to be your best friend.
Oh yeah. And sometimes you're going to see when you apply too many times, it's going to say, we've closed your account or we've closed this. And you actually have to write them a reply to reopen the account. It's totally normal. They're going to say, we've closed your application. You have to email us. So you reply to it, but go into ChatGPT and ask them how to reply. They create me a reply to the Amazon seller for the brand Calvin Klein to have your case reopened and submit your documentation. And ChatGPT just magically gives this perfect
Beautiful
letter,
thing.
like copy and paste it right in to Amazon. It's kind of like you're fighting AI with AI, but it's completely normal. They're going to close it. And like the first time I saw it close, I'm like, oh my God, they closed it. I can't sell this. You can, you just have to reply. They reopen it and then they just might close you again and rinse and repeat. And what we're here to tell you today is that week one, don't give up when it does that. Just keep on plugging, keep on applying, sell what you're approved for, because there will be brands and get sales. I mean, that's in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah. I think get comfortable with the rejection because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Rejection will happen through this. Take the wins as you get them. But miracles do happen. You will get ungated in the things that you want to sell. It may take time. It may take a long time, but you will get ungated in those things.
It might even make sense to make sure everybody is aware that you may even find a product that you're trying to get ungated and keep having difficulty with. The products that you're finding may not even make a profit, but you need to get ungated, but you're trying to as hard as you can to get ungated in that brand. So you just buy 10 regardless of the profit, get ungated, and then take the product back. That's one way around having to lose profit on a brand that you're trying to get ungated.
There's all different ways. But like, guys, that's going to be your week one. There's not going to be any sales. There's not going to be anything. You're going to be going between ChatGPT to Google, back to some YouTube video that you saw, sourcing video, and you're going to watch that, whatever situation you're in, and you're going to feel absolutely overwhelmed. Yeah. And like an info overload.
Yeah, and you're gonna be drowning on that fire hydrant, just drowning you as you're trying to drink it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of information.
So hopefully today we kind of gave you a little bit of what to expect week one for our second podcast of Marketplace Mavericks. Pete and we both wore our glasses today because
they need to look a little younger.
We want to look a little younger, look a little smarter. Blake, maybe you can go get some glasses for next time.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll bring out some readers and make you guys feel good.
You never know. You never know.
Looking at you two guys, and one of them has a ball cap and has a beard. The other one has glasses, and I feel like I'm the combination of those two.
You really are, Pete.
You are.
You really are. But listen, if you like us, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. I mean, I think last week in our first podcast, I think we hit like 100 viewers.
That's nice, man.
Wow. And just like the first week in Amazon, it was our first week in podcasters, and we got to take the little wins.
That's really a big win. 100 views, man. Now my wife might have been 70 or 80 of them.
Listen, I might have made my 12-year-old daughters subscribe to the podcast.
Watch it. Come on, sweetheart. Watch it again.
I might have. But I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do. But do you guys have anything else to add? Or I think we handled it.
Yep.
It's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck.
It's gonna
this week,
suck, guys. It's
but
gonna suck.
That's the beauty of it. It's gonna suck before it gets better, and when it gets good, we aren't. Again, none of us have arrived there, as we're not living on our Amazon journeys yet. We're still grinding, just like John says, and so we just got to keep on pushing, man. Keep doing what we know to do. That's right. Begin to
and what we're gonna do next week. We're going to come back with another podcast. I think we're going to drop a podcast every Monday. I like Mondays. And we're just going to drop a podcast every Monday, giving you guys just the unfiltered good, bad, and ugly of Amazon selling. So,
what y'all sales like this week? I'm curious, what's your sales like? Let's hear it.
Me, I was a little bit slow. I am at right now, I think.
Wow, bro.
I'm 11,500 for the month. I want 13.5. That's what I'm going for. 13.5.
Pete, where you at?
Yeah, that's your sales, and your profit's a different thing. Remember we talked
about we're not looking at profit. We are just going for sales because there's some returns in there. But we are at 13.5. We're going to leave it at that.
Yeah, my month to date is 6,027 to be exact.
Very good.
And I think I hit a record net profit too of $1,000. So.
There you go, Pete. Where are you at?
What's up?
You mean Blake?
I mean, not Pete, Blake.
That's okay. You're a little confused. You're the oldest one of the bunch, man. We understand. It's okay, John. It's okay. I'm Blake right here. So, my store right now for the month, guys, you're not going to believe this. I'm at 30,000. I'm totally kidding.
Oh, wow.
He would have gotten the one upper of the season.
Yeah, I'm setting at 83.50. So I'm setting at 83.50. Again, I told you guys last week I scaled back a little bit on my purchasing just because I needed to recoup some stuff. Today I went out and did some more RA, got $1,000 more. I'm going to be sending in worth of some products. So
there we go.
Yeah. So 83, almost 84 for the month so far. My target is to hit another 10K month. I haven't been as aggressive this month like I was last month, but
all right.
Hopefully that's some encouragement to you guys.
Tune in next week, and hopefully we will have hit our goals in all of our third month at Amazon buying. But until next time, we are the Marketplace Model.